good evening, Topic Mix for Family. I just got through watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the entire seasons, episodes 1 through 6. Let me tell you what I want to say. It was an awesome series. This was one for the ages, so to speak, as far as MCU characters go. There's always a theme running through the MCU. Most of the times it runs through on the TV shows more so than the movies, because the movies are so packed with action they don't get a chance to go deep. So we got the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Wow, this was awesome. It's better than what I thought it was going to be, and the reason why I say that, because after watching WandaVision, which was an excellent series, awesome series. You can't believe the future that Wanda has in the MCU as the Scarlet Witch, right? So, wow, I just can't wait to see where that's going. It's spectacular and awesome. Then you got Photon now. You got to see where that's going. I'm sure she's going to show up in some other series and maybe some other movies. Woo, powerful stuff. They introduced new characters in both of these shows. So, I'm just like, wow. But let's get focused on Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We start off with action. It just starts off with action. Just Falcon's on the mission. He goes in there on this plane, recover the people on the plane. And in the mission, I don't know if it's Hydra, who it is, but I believe the person here is B-Troc. And B-Troc is up to no good as usual. And so he's got his job is to get them off of that plane, get that information that's on the plane, and rescue the person that they have kidnapped on the plane. And he does. But in such a spectacular way as Falcon, doing the Falcon things. Whoa. I mean, the action just let's start this off with some action. He got a little help from his buddy Bucky a little bit later on in another part of the episode, but this one he starts off with like, whoa, didn't know it would lead to the next part, because he's chasing down these people called the Flag Smashers. Here comes that social justice part one of this thing, because that social justice runs all throughout the series in a way that I haven't seen in the MCU. And some people are going to be upset about it. Other people are like, whoa, that's awesome. Because if you're an MCU lover, you're going to love what they did with this. So, it starts off with awesome action. The action is just spectacular in this show. Then it kind of winds down and you see what's going on. You got Bucky. Poor little Bucky. We go to Bucky's story. Bucky is still trying to cope with all the things that he's been through. He went to Wakanda to recover, to become so that they could try to fix all the issues he had and the brainwashing he had from working with Hydra and being the Winter Soldier. So now he's Bucky. So we're getting to see how his story develops in the psychological trauma he's having to go through and deal with. Now he's dealing with the PTSD and the consequences of his actions as the Winter Soldier. He was a super soldier, sure, but he was sent out on missions because they had brainwashing him. When he heard certain words, he did whatever they asked him to do, and he's assassinated people, he's killed people, he's destroyed things, he's stolen things, he's done things that he now regrets as Bucky that he did as the Winter Soldier. He has super soldier serum, he has his metal arm, but Bucky has to learn not to be the killer that he was, and he's not no longer the killer. So it's kind of a sad story to see somebody who's kind of dealing with a very dark side of his life. In fact, the character he's dealing with at the beginning of the movie, he's young because he's younger than Bucky. The older gentleman, Oriental gentleman, is the father of a person that the Winter Soldier Bucky killed, and he hasn't told him yet, but he's trying to find out why he's the whole befriending this man and all those things. Wow, this story is going to be something else as it goes on. So we get to see the beginning of Bucky's story, see him talking to a psychologist and telling him about all the things that he needs to do in this book, so on and so forth. You know what you need to do. You know what you need to do. You know how to release this. You have to tell the truth. Bucky has to deal with trying to be a part of the real world. He's also 109 years old. You know, his age was back during World War II. So he's got to deal with being in the real world and trying to be a part of a world that isn't even in his decade. You know, decades later, almost 100, almost 70 years later, it's a whole nother world, a whole new life. And he too got taken up in the blip, which is a big theme running throughout this story as well, the blip. See, just like in WandaVision, we didn't realize what the blip did to people. It changed the world forever. You got to think. So there was a 5-year gap where there was no people on Earth. Where there was only half the people on Earth, because there was only half the people throughout the universe. That's how Thanos wanted it. So when he snapped his finger, half the people just died, disappeared, destroyed, whatever you want to call it. But they were blipped back in 5 years later, and the world has changed. Borders have changed because the number of people on Earth had changed. Now there were enough resources for the half that was there. Now there's another half there. So you can just imagine the chaos and trouble it's causing. In fact, there's an entire refugee camp that is dedicated to people who came back from the blip. People are displaced. They don't have homes. The homes that they knew are gone. The borders of the countries they know are gone. So it's causing chaos. So the government has created this organization which is attempting to fix that problem, but the way they're doing it is causing more problems. Thus, we get people like the Flag Smashers who say, enough's enough. We need things to go back to the way they were before the blip. Maybe you need to take a look at the world and figure out a way to solve that. Now, Bucky is funny. Not Bucky. Sam is funny. As the Falcon, he also represents somebody who was blipped away. So when he comes back, his world is totally disrupted. Imagine this: while he was gone, disappeared, poof, his sister had to take care of all the business that for his family and his father's family, because his father passed away during that time. So his sister had to take care of finances and the businesses and all that stuff. And so we get to see that side. And we also learned something else. People who came back from the blip have no credit. They're kind of stuck in the world. They have no place. There's nothing there for them. So if he wanted to go buy a home, can't do it because you don't have a credit. You can't go rent anything because you don't have credit. So what do? Fortunately for Bucky, Sam, he has family. Bucky has no family. But Bucky is finding a way to maneuver through the world as it is, being who he is. Sort of a superhero that some people know, some people don't. And he's finding his way to maneuver through the world, on the dark side of the world. And like I said, fortunately for Sam, he does have home to go to. But again, he has no money, he has no cash. He's not really earning a big living being a superhero as the Falcon. So that's something we learn quick, fast, and in a hurry in this story about being a superhero. There's no real reward to it other than the reward of helping other people. So here we go. We're starting here. And Sam does one thing that you can say is valiant or tragic at the same thing. He gives up the shield. He gives it back to the Americans, and they give it and put it in a museum and all these things. Next thing you know, you see the next big action scene is him and Bucky going at it with these Flag Smashers. That was episode, I believe it was again either the end of episode 1 or episode 2. They go at it with the Flag Smashers, and Bucky jumps all the way out the plane, lands feet first on the ground. Tell you how powerful the serum is. He's capable of doing that, jumping out of an airplane at low altitude with no parachute and surviving the fall without breaking a limb. How the hell he did that, I don't know, but he did. So they get into this fight with the Flag Smashers, and you find out a little bit about who the Flag Smashers are. They also are a group of individuals with the super serum. So Bucky and Sam basically get their asses handed to them. So the Falcon tries and gets his ass handed to him. Here, lo and behold, something I forgot to mention a little bit earlier, America has decided to pick a white guy. I know some people are going to be upset about what I say about that. A white guy, blonde hair, blue-eyed, white guy to be Captain America, who was a war hero in Afghanistan. He has a black guy as his sidekick. That has to be some kind of artistic use, so to speak. Something they're trying to say about what they're doing. So he has a black guy as his sidekick, and he is Captain America. He embodies everything that's so American about America, right? So to speak. He's a war hero. He's a white guy. Yeah, basically that's it. He's a war hero, decorated veteran, all those things. So that makes him, okay, you might say it qualifies him to be Captain America. But the Falcon was at the side of Captain America and was chosen by Captain America to be the next Captain America. But I guess what the Captain America thinks doesn't matter to the world. It matters what the world thinks of who Captain America should be, right? Right. Anyway, he shows up at this fight. And, for a second there, you're like, whoa, boom, boom, whoa, okay, he's doing something. Then he gets his butt kicked because he has no super soldier serum. He actually has no idea what he just walked into, him or his buddy or his sidekick. Lamar Askins is his sidekick. Lamar Askins, so more like Lamar getting his ass kicked. Sorry, kids. A few bad words. Sorry about that. It's more like that in this kind of thing. So, anyway, in the process, here we go. We meet the Flag Smashers. We find out they're doing this, that, and other. They not exactly sure what activities they are up to right now. As far as Falcon and Winter Soldiers are concerned, they're a dangerous terrorist organization that has gotten their hands on the formula. So, of course, in the process, they're trying to figure out first find them. So somehow Bucky gets this smart idea that he's going to break out one of the baddest guys in the world who knows all about this type of stuff. Baron Zemo. Yeah. Baron Zemo is not one that I would want you to break out of jail because he's smart. He doesn't really have super soldier powers or anything like that, but he's really, really smart. And he has a distaste for superheroes. He blames them for what happened. He's also a resident of Sokovia. Apparently, he was a baron. He had a lot of money and influence, and he still does. But he had all this money and influence as a baron, and he lost it all because when the Avengers and fought Ultron, they pretty much destroyed Sokovia. And some other things destroyed Sokovia too. War, not to mention all of that was going on as well. But Sokovia was finally done in by the Avengers' battle with Ultron. You just gotta love all the irony in this. So he's this dark horse guy. You bring him in to help you out, to help you find a Secret Soldier formula and the Flag Smashers. Okay, so we end up finding this guy, the Power Broker. Well, we don't get to see the Power Broker, at least not now, but we run into the Power Broker's agents at this point. One of them, again, is Batroc. I mean, the baddest butt kicking is, Jesus, Falcon got his butt kicked. He actually handed the Winter Soldier a couple of butt kickings during this whole thing. He's a tough guy to fight. So Batroc, he's involved with the Power Broker. Now they go and they find this professor who created the super soldier serum that they thought didn't exist anymore, and that the last people that had it was Bucky and Captain America. Thought they were the only ones that had it. Come to find out, no. And there's even deeper story to that. So Sam's like, what's going on here? Why is there all this secret soldiers serum around? Well, Sam, Bucky again, with all the things he knows. This is the thing about Bucky. There's a lot that he knows that Sam has no idea. He doesn't know about the dark side of the world. So Bucky takes Sam to the one person who kicked Bucky's ass. Yes, the one and only Isaiah Bradley. Isaiah Bradley was kind of like the stand-in for Captain America during the Korean War. Um, at least that's how this story is going with him. Isaiah Bradley has a background in the comics. He was Captain America. He kind of broke the rules and ended up in jail for 30 years. What he did originally was there were other soldiers, black soldiers, that were experimented on. Kind of like the Tuskegee experiment. Horrible things were done. Some people survived it, some people didn't. Some people took the serum, but the serum didn't take like it did on Isaiah. Isaiah was the one soldier that they tested that actually took the serum. And now, see, the thing is, they had lost the formula for the serum because the original professor had died, so they kept on trying to recreate it. So they took several people, but actually Isaiah was the one who survived. He survived all the trials and everything, and he was the one who came through without any mutations or weird things happening to him. So in the end, there were some other super soldiers who had been captured, and Isaiah went and saved them. They were some of these folks that had the mutated genes. He went and saved them, and the government didn't like that too much, so they locked him up for 30 years. But during that process, they experimented on him because they wanted to see, why did this formula take for him, whereas it didn't take for everybody else? What was it he experimented on? And I'm going to say something. This could be the origins of Luke Cage as well. These experiments that they were running, this could be the origins of Luke Cage. I'm not saying that it is, but it could be the origins of Luke Cage. So during the process of these experiments they did on Isaiah, for 30 years he was in jail. His wife was fighting to get him out of jail. Eventually, I believe they told him he was dead. Eventually he did get out, but the only reason why is because a nurse faked some papers so he could basically escape. So he was assumed to be dead, but he was free. He's roaming around. He likes to stay in the background so people don't know who he is. But Sam gets to meet him, and he finds out all this things. He's like, why nobody ever told me? Why didn't anybody tell me about this? This is horrible. It's another reason not to be Captain America. Because if this is what America's about, this is awful. So, but here's Sam, still being who he is. He has to make a decision about this as time goes on. But Bucky showed it to him for a reason, hoping that it would hit his brain and stimulate him to get that shield back from old boy. Because Bucky was really upset about Sam giving up the shield that Captain America had given to him. He said, hey, you're supposed to be Captain America. Why did you give up that shield? And Sam goes, it doesn't belong to anybody. It really doesn't. Sam doesn't have that same need to have that shield. So this is something that's different between Sam and John Walker, who is now, a.k.a. Captain America. He embodies it. He wants to be Captain America. He is everything that Captain America should be. Now, when you first see him, he's kind of like, wow, can I have to live up to this? Can I be this? He walks out in the crowd, hears the noise, and you can tell he's taken to being Captain America. And he goes gung-ho, full gung-ho at it. He's willing to chase and go into the fire no matter what. He's even willing to go too far, as we find out later. So, how does Zemo do this? Well, Zemo kills the professor who created the new super serum, which we expected him to do because he's Zemo. Zemo's out to kill all super soldiers. He says, I kind of like you, Winter Soldier, so I'm not going to kill you right now. And, he's amazed by the fact that he's not a killer. But he doesn't like super soldiers. He doesn't like superheroes either. That's his whole thing. I'm going to take them out because they eventually become corrupted with power. Even though Zemo himself is corrupted with power and doesn't realize it. And we got this power broker thing still going on in the background, working on both sides against each other. So the power broker helps Falcon and Winter Soldier find this professor, and to help them find the Flag Smashers. But what we also found about the power broker is she's working with the Flag Smashers through Batroc. Batroc will be working with the Flag Smashers, as we'll see later on. Now, again, the social justice thing is still running strong here. The Flag Smashers are trying to get everything set up so it'll be right back to the way it was before the blip. That's what they're working on doing. We want it to be like it was before the blip. Before the blip. And there's some things that's incorrect about that because there are a whole group of people that came back after the blip. You can't ignore the fact that those people exist. You can't go back to something unless you plan on killing all those people that exist. And I know you don't really want to do that. So this organization is, of course, another twisted organization. But that's part of this fight. That's part of the great fight. See, this comes from a guy who doesn't really read the comics, so you guys have to excuse me. I'm showing you how I see it through the show. Okay? So, as we watch these characters develop, the show develop, the action gets even bigger and badder. Finally, we get to a fight where Captain America, where, Sam decides he's going to meet with this leader. He says, maybe I can reason with her. This is how Sam thinks. Maybe I can reason with her. If I can reason with her, he wants to meet with the leader of the Flag Smashers, Aaron Kelman, and he just wants to talk to her. Maybe I can talk her into, changing her mind about what they're about to do, what they're planning on doing here, and you find out that she, before they get a chance to meet, she's trying to figure out if she could trust him or not, because she doesn't, of course, people like this don't trust the government because the government is the enemy, and says, well, I guess I could talk to him. So she tried to talk to Sam. She really wanted to talk to Sam. She wanted to talk to him. So when we get to this point where they talk, lo and behold, the Captain America shows up because he's tracking everything Bucky and Sam are doing, because then Sam's suit has a tracking device in it. He says government owned. Keyword, something else that said it's government owned. So the government can track Falcon whenever he's wearing that suit, wherever he is. So they track him to the location here, which they're now in New Orleans, and it starts a fight. The fight that ends terribly because the super soldier decides to kill one of the members of the Flag Smashers because the leader killed Lamar Haskins, his sidekick, by accident, totally by accident, but he did die. So then Captain America goes off the chains. John Walker goes off the rails and kills a member of the Flag Smashers right in front of a whole bunch of people with cameras. So here we go. Here goes. He's reached his arc. This is his period of height. So now he's finna come back down. He's no longer the hero that he once was. And we watch his destruction as that hero in vivid color with people flashing cameras right there in front of him, and the blood on the shield, something you never saw before, blood on the shield after he killed somebody. So we come to the next episode, and the big fight happens between John Walker, Captain America, Falcon, and the Winter Soldier, and it's epic. That's an epic battle. They fight it out. They finally have to break Captain America's arm to get the shield off. So John Walker loses the shield, which is the end of his walk as Captain America. It's finally, like I said, he reached his peak, and now it's coming down. And every character has an arc. Like I said, this is the hero's journey we're talking about, the hero's journey. So we've got 3 people in here, and they're headed in 3 different directions. So you got Sam, who started up here, kind of started here and went down, and now he's peaking. You got Bucky, who's kind of like here, but it's kind of steadily going this way. He's kind of right here. He's that guy. He has some wisdom, and he's in the background, but he has a journey he has to go on as well. So here's Bucky reclaiming the shield in the way, probably the only way he could have, in an all-out battle with John Walker. And Bucky hands him the shield at the end of the fight. Like, here, this is yours. Keep it now. So Now Sam's got to deal with this and start contemplating and dealing with how he's going to deal with this. So he goes back to Isaiah and talks to Isaiah again once he gets the shield. It's time to go back and talk to the man and get all the information he can. Because last meeting with Isaiah wasn't so nice. Isaiah wasn't so happy to see him. So this time he talked to him. He talked to Sam. He didn't have a problem talking to Sam. He sat down and said, hey, let's talk. He told him about everything. He told him about what happened with his family, the whole nine. It's like Sam's like, why didn't anybody ever tell me this? What is this? What is this? Again, here's the hero's journey. You got to decide what is going to be best for you. So, do I need the shield? Do I throw it away because this is awful? Because is that going to represent me and you? Because we're black people, And here's Isaiah, the example of the Tuskegee experiment, the example of what happened to the soldiers after World War II. The redlining of their homes, the not getting the good jobs like the other soldiers did when they come back, the fact that they weren't honored or given medals of honor after they came back from war. They were treated as second-hand citizens after this. That is what this is about. So we get to this point in the hero's journey. Now, it's amazing that it just boggles the mind how deep this was. So here comes Sam's opportunity. He's got to learn what to do. They're still trying to chase down the Flag Smashers. All of this is going on, but he's got to learn to become Captain America. He takes it on. He decides to take it on. He starts working out with the shield, learn how to use the shield and everything. Meanwhile, Bucky goes off because he's got to make a deal. Zemo did escape. He's crazy guy out on the loose, ready to kill all the other superheroes and all the super serum people, including the Flag Smashers. He wants them all dead. Oh, he does. So when Bucky catches up with him, he's kind of got on his mind revenge because, Zemo did use him. He was brainwashing him to do his bidding. So he hasn't forgotten that at all. So when he catches up, he pulls out a gun. It's not loaded because he wants to tell Zemo, I'm not the person that I used to be. But the Dora Milaje are there. The Dora Milaje are there to get Zemo. And yes, they remind him he is the White Wolf. The wonderful name they gave him when he was in Wakanda. Something we'll learn more about later. Of course, I kind of talk about that a little bit. The White Wolf was a different story in the old books. Basically, from what I understand, he was the adopted son of T'Challa's father before T'Challa was born. So he would have been the new Black Panther. He would have been Black Panther before T'Challa was, because he was getting prepared to be Black Panther until T'Challa, of course, was born. So then T'Challa becomes the number one son. He becomes the next inheritor of the Black Panther, and White Wolf goes ballistic, goes away. And it's kind of like the Black Panther was sent after to stop him. They're kind of like opposites of each other. They're always battling for each other. Sometimes he's battling for power over Wakanda as White Wolf, so on and so forth. I don't think that's where they're going with Bucky in this one. The White Wolf is going to be an agent probably of Wakanda, as well as being part of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The name change we will talk about in a minute. So now we get into the part that's the big part. So in the process of Bucky doing this, he asks for one more favor from the Wakandans. They give him a suit. That suit is in a suitcase. Something in that suitcase is awesome. It's a new suit for, yes, our friend, our wonderful friend, our awesome friend, Sam. So Sam is, like I said, he's on this hero's journey. He goes back to visit Isaiah once again. And in the process of visiting Isaiah, he talks to him about wanting to do the suit. He goes on. So now he's going to embody the superhero. He embodies him. He decides that I'm going to embrace who I am. and that's when he opens up the case. And in the next episode, they got this plan how they're going to take him and Bucky got this plan how they're going to take on the Flag Smashers. They found out the location of where they're going, and they take them on. We don't get to see the suit right away. Bucky rushes in. So does Carter. We're going to talk about her role a little bit. Let me reverse that. Now, when they were back in one of those other countries, when they were dealing with the broker, apparently Carter was working for the broker, or supposedly working, or knew the broker. So she was talking to the broker. That's how they, like I said again, they got to the professor. Now, if you know anything about the broker, he's one bad dude. He's a gangster, thuggish kind of background character who wields a lot of power and has a lot of super buddy friends that he works with. And in fact, in the comic books, he becomes at some point he's a drug dealer. He owns a wrestling company. He forces all these super soldier characters to fight for his wrestling company so he can make money, and he gives them drugs too to keep them fighting for him until they pay off all their debts. He's a dirty, rotten guy making a lot of money under the table. So that's all I can tell you about him. But Carter, she's kind of off the reservation, so to speak. She's not a SHIELD agent right now. She's not an agent in the United States. She's lost her sanctions, so she's not sanctioned right now as an agent. So she's trying to lay low, and so wherever they were in the world, she was trying to lay low. But Sam has asked her to help him on 2 occasions. This is the second occasion. Help them when they go to fight the Flag Smashers, who are going to destroy this organization that is trying to figure out how to get all these people back together again. So they were going to take these folks hostage, possibly kill them if they didn't get their demands met for going back to the way things were before the blip. All silly in the end, but there's more to the story if you think about it. But in comes Sam. Sam's got the new suit on. He's using the shield. Again, the action is action-packed. All I can tell you is that's the one thing I can say throughout this. The acting was excellent. The plot was excellent. There were no plot holes. It was not like watching an action flick and you're like, it's action and no real plot. There was a real plot to this, and it was deep. In 6 shows, they put together a pretty deep, well-developed show. I mean, it was just so well developed. So I have to talk about that. So here comes Sam. Now he's embodied Captain America. He's got the shield and everything. He's still Falcon because he hasn't officially taken on the mantle of Captain America, but you can see he embodies all those things in this. So in the end, the Flag Smashers, unfortunately, are defeated, kind of in a 2-way deal. One, okay, old girl is killed. Quite by accident. She was shot by Carter, but Carter was a double agent. Carter was actually the power broker, according to this. She may have been acting on behalf of the power broker, but she's like, "Hey, you're supposed to be working for me." She told the Flagsman, "You're supposed to be working for me." No, we're not working for you. We got our own agenda. She's like, "No, you're supposed to be working for my agenda." So she gets shot. The girl dies. Other Flag Smashers end up getting caught. When Sam comes in, he's going full speed. He takes out 1, 2. That whole helicopter scene, y'all gotta watch that. Whoa. How he took out that pilot and the other girl stepped in the seat and took off and flew that helicopter was awesome to watch. At the end, you can't forget that whole scene where Bucky comes in, where Bucky and our friend John Walker shows up with his own shield that he's made, even though it's not the same as that the Captain America shield because it gets wrecked. He shows up in there and he helps them fight the Flag Smashers. In the end, he decides to become a hero. He decides, hey, the car's going over the edge. He drops the shield. Instead of fighting, he pulls that truck back. He pulls it back as far as he can. Then they start fighting him, and the truck ends up almost falling off, but in swoops Sam. Saves the day, saves the truck, saves the people on the inside. So we can say the story kind of ends here with everything that happens. But we get a couple of things that wrap up, and I'm going to do a little social justice and let it go. It was awesome. Okay. But how does this relate to the world today? Because this is about the world today that we live in. It's about America that we live in. So the terrorism thing. Sometimes we're calling people terrorists that shouldn't be called terrorists. We don't understand why they're terrorists. Or maybe we don't understand people who are terrorists why they're terrorists either. Um, in our country, we like to call Black Lives Matter people terrorists. They're not really terrorists. Sure, some people smash windows and bust in the cars, and some other people who take advantage of the situation and loot and burn and all those other things. Let me explain. There are still people who are marching for social justice, for the right to live in this country. And it's something that Sam said at the end of this thing. He says, you guys make decisions up here without talking to the people that are actually affected by your decisions. And that's something our government does. We give these people, by voting them in, we give them the opportunity to represent us. And when some of them don't even come from the lifestyle, didn't grow up the way we did, don't know how we grew up, that can't even relate to how we grow up, but we are allowing them to make decisions for us. And then they're being backed by, like he said, who are you being backed by? You're being backed by billionaires and millionaires who have their own solutions to how the world should work, so it works for them, not for everybody. And that's something you have to think about. Also, on the social justice tip, Isaiah, and the reason why Bucky needed to take on the mantle of Captain America, because he has to be the symbol of what America is becoming, what America is today. That's what America should be and can be. That's what Bucky is taking on the symbol of. So him taking on the shield, that's why Chris Evans gave it to him. He said, hey, you can be what America can be. And Sam comes to understand that, to learn the pain of what happened to Isaiah. Isaiah, in the end, gets his honor. He gets a statue. He gets a whole room dedicated to him and what he did. That's what America does. It has done today. It had to give those Medal of Honor to the World War II veterans that it didn't give to in the past, because America is looking for forgiveness, for a change. And that's what this is about. Change, about rethinking how you think. So why would we reestablish borders with old countries and do things in the past? Why don't we change for the future in a way that benefits everybody? And that's what America needs to do. Why are we trying to go back and relive the past of the country, and let's bring back a new future in the country? Let's bring unity to the country. You know, people that marched into the Capitol on January 6th, to me, I think they want to bring back old America. America's changing. It's still going to be the same Constitution. We're going to be able to live by your rights and your freedoms that you enjoyed, but some of those traditions, and some of the things that were done in the past, Jim Crow was awful. Slavery was awful. We had a whole civil war because people that didn't agree with the Constitution of the United States. It was awful because they wanted to keep institutions that kept other people down and downtrodden. We can't go back to that. America has to grow, has to become something else. And that is something that Sam embodied by becoming Captain America, and it was awesome to watch. It really was. It was a tearful moment, emotional type ending to the show, but all I can say is, wow. And let me tell you what the end of the title was on the show. After all of that, no longer Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but Captain America and the Winter Soldier. And I can be proud of that. Anybody who's coming to be friend could be proud of how they ended this show. So, saw the end credit scenes. We know that the power broker is, I don't know how that happened. It's Carter. But okay, maybe she was acting for the power broker. I'm not sure, but we know she's not a good person anymore. Also, John Walker, his character got a reprieve by being that hero at the end of that show. He's back in it because he kind of got his redemption arc, as they call it, by trying to save those people in the truck and fighting with Captain America and not getting in the way. Really, he didn't get in the way. So now he will be known as the U.S. agent. He will handle things that Captain America can't handle, or America doesn't want any publicity on, but they will use him in those roles. So he's back in, and I guess he's happy about that. But we're going to see a lot of things happening. I believe Captain America and the Winter Soldier's got a season 2 coming. It's a little different than WandaVision. I think that was a one-time deal. That they can't redo that. But like I said, all the characters were introduced there. There are new heroes introduced here. Like I said, American Agent, possibly a new Falcon's coming. Yep, y'all didn't see that, right? You know, he gave his friends the wings after they broke, so he's probably going to get them fixed, and he's going to end up using those wings. So we might see a new Falcon. Bucky, Sam. We saw a couple of people. The potential young Patriot. He's coming at some point. Wow. All I can say is the show's pretty awesome. No flaws on this one for me. In fact, it was just as enjoyable as WandaVision. Marvel is doing an awesome job, and I was worried what was going to happen after Endgame. I'm not worried anymore. But we also see that the blip is a problem, so there's more to come. It's not just causing multi-dimensional problems. It's also causing problems at the social level. Jeez. Wow. Well, anyway, Topic Mixer family, it's been great. Hope y'all have a wonderful night, and I hope you enjoyed this video. So, if you really enjoyed this video, hit the like and share button. I'm waiting to see what the Bad Batch is all about. I want to see that. I'm waiting. Star Wars is next. They're coming. The Bad Batch. I gotta see that. You know, I'm a big Star Wars fan. Been one my whole life. See, guys, my age, so you young folks don't know about that. Man, I grew up on Star Wars. I grew up on it. I saw the first ones in the theater. Anyway, y'all have a good night. Again, hit that like button, share button right there, subscribe button if you haven't subscribed. Please share this with your friends, because I need all of you to see this awesomeness. Anyway, talk to you later. Have a good night.